Hello everyone, today is 18th of February, Sunday, so I hope you have a wonderful day and weekend. Now it's 11:30 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for a day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. There are quite a few very significant developments and news that I like to share with you for this moment, but before I start, let me notice for all the members of our community who will watch this update on YouTube that I also have a channel on Rumble platform and I'm trying quite actively to develop this channel on Rumble, and I will be immensely grateful if you will consider to join our community on Rumble and to subscribe to my channel. Link is in the description box and in the pinned comment. I share on my Rumble channel all the videos that I share on YouTube, although I have on Rumble also exclusive content for Rumble only, which is a Telegram reports program in the live stream, during the live stream from Monday to Thursday, 9 o'clock evening time, 9 o'clock in the evening Moscow time. So hopefully this additional content will also help me a little bit to generate this additional interest towards my Rumble channel. That's been said, let's talk about news now. And first of all, short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. Of course, many of you already are informed that Avdeevka city on Donetsk sector of the front line is already under Russian control, and it is official now, by the way. Avdeevka is 100% controlled by Russian forces. Russian Defense Ministry made a statement about it. And as we know, Russian Defense Ministry always takes time before a statement is made about liberation of settlements on a line of contact. And this type of statement was made yesterday, and Russian Defense Ministry confirmed this. And at the same time, according to Russian militaries, during the chaotic retreat, unorganized retreat of Ukrainian units from Avdeevka, they lost up to 1,500 military personnel, killed, by the way, KIA. Most likely, very high number also was wounded during that retreat from Avdeevka. And right now, city is under full Russian control, and forward units of Russian armed forces are right on the outskirts of Lastechkina village here. This is one of the directions where Ukrainian units were running away from Avdeevka. Also, Severna, this tiny village, Russian forces, according to reports that I see, are also on the outskirts of this village. Tomenka, same story, and it is possible that in upcoming days Russian forces will conduct some operations to establish control over these small villages, although quite possibly it will take a day or two for Russian units in Avdeevka to reinforce themselves, to receive some additional munition and weapons to continue this offensive. When it comes to Avdeevka itself, Ukrainian armed forces left in the city plenty of weapons, according to the Defense Ministry of Russian Federation, plenty of weapons and munition. And what is most important, Ukrainian units left behind their wounded comrades. They were promised that they will be evacuated, but they were left behind, which definitely highlights the state of morale of Ukrainian armed forces and the units that were operating inside the Avdeevka. Huge number of POWs, Ukrainian POWs, hundreds of them, although in upcoming days the Defense Ministry will probably share with us some precise information. Right now it's just a speculation on different military channels. Some say more than 300 Ukrainian soldiers end up being POW, some say more than 500, some say even 1,500, so it's hard to tell, but we're definitely talking about hundreds of Ukrainian soldiers who lay down arms and surrender, and this number will definitely continue to increase because inside the city clearing operation is underway, and many Ukrainian soldiers, hundreds of them, most likely still are hiding in some buildings and will be neutralized, or if they will refuse to surrender, or will be taken as prisoners of war. So Avdeevka operation effectively is over, and now everybody is asking question in which direction Russian side will shift focus. There are rumors for quite some time now, at least for several days, that Russian armed forces created big armored feast in Zaporozhye sector of the front line. Different reports about concentration of 40 to 60,000 Russian military personnel, hundreds of tanks, armored personnel carriers, and so on. And many are predicting Russian push towards Orekhov, which is here, by the way. Well, yesterday evening we received information that Russian forces start conducting some offensive operations in Orekhov Bridgehead, in Rabotina area, in Verbovo area, and this might be indicator that some sectoral scale, quite big sectoral scale offensive operation is coming from Russian forces. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's the case. And by the way, Russian forces were conducting some operations not just in Orekhov Bridgehead area, but also in the western side, in area of Pitikhatki, Lapkovo, and Kamenskoye direction. So that definitely can be indicator that Zaporozhye sector will be the next where this sectoral scale of offensive takes place. But I have a little bit different reading of the situation. We may see, of course, Russian offensive in Zaporozhye sector of the front line, but I believe it will be local scale offensive operations, nothing even in the sectoral level. While most likely after successful Avdeevka operation, main attention of Russian armed forces will be shifted towards Seversk. I expect significant activization of Russian forces in Chasov Yar direction, by the way, in Kupiansk direction, all along the front line. Basically, pressure will continue to increase, but when it comes to some more or less big scale of operation, sectoral level operation, I believe Seversk will be the next, because just look at the map, by the way. This is Seversk here, and this area, Seversk and surrounding territories, are kind of bridgehead inside the Russian defensive lines, and this defense line has to be straightened up, that's for sure, especially because undoubtedly sometime in the future Russian forces will start offensive operations towards Kramatorsk-Slavyansk defense line, and to do so Seversk definitely has to be, Seversk and surrounding areas definitely have to be in under Russian control. And therefore, that's my reading, by the way. Of course, I have no information from general staff of Russian Federation. I have no idea what they're gonna do. But my understanding of situation is that Seversk gonna be next point of the sectoral level offensive from Russian side. Let's see if it's true. Russian armed forces already are very active, or quite active, on the Krasny Liman sector of the front line. Russian forces increasing pressure on Ukrainian units in Belogorovka area. Russian forces increasing pressure on Ukrainian units in Tarskoye direction, in Yampolovka, Terny areas, which is here, by the way, on the left bank of the Dnieper River. And I guess Russian side will definitely try to establish control over the entire this territory on the left bank of the Dnieper River before offensives will begin on the right bank, towards right bank. But yet again, Seversk seems to me most logical direction of next Russian sectoral offensive, sectoral scale offensive, which is not a general offensive, of course, not large scale offensive operation, but at least on the level of this sector, Krasny Liman sector, this operation can be seen as a big one. And this is it, by the way, for a short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. I remind you that there are plenty of military channels that are providing much more precise analysis, detailed analysis about and precise information about this local scale skirmishes on line of contact. And I recommend those channels if you want to receive some more additional information. My program is about news in general, so I will continue with some other news. Well, RIA Novosti reported based on its own sources that behind the terrorist attack on Russian Il-76 plane that took place on 24th of January, and that plane was carrying Ukrainian POWs, as you know, and was shut down over the Belgorod region. So behind this terrorist attack is British instructors from United Kingdom that were in charge of that battery, air defense battery that opened fire on Il-76. And if this information will be confirmed by Russian Defense Ministry, it will be interesting what steps will Moscow take then in that case. Of course, factual evidence has to be provided that British instructors were in charge of that battery, but in any case, I don't think any of us are surprised to hear that NATO member states are sending their military personnel in Ukraine. We all know this, especially when it comes to United Kingdom. United Kingdom is very actively involved in this conflict and already lost dozens of its military personnel, including, by the way, fighters of SAS, elite special forces units of United Kingdom. Sometime in the future we will definitely learn some more, but me personally not at all surprised to hear that London is actively involved in these war crimes that Kyiv regime is committing. Next information is also quite interesting, but in some strange way. Let's see. Let's say Interfax is reporting that Biden, by the way, called for US Congress to urgently vote for Ukraine's aid package, military aid package. As you know, Senate in US already voted for this package, in which 60 billion, little more than 60 billion is for Kyiv regime, formally at least. In reality, of course, from this 60, at least 40 billion, if it will be approved, at least 40 billion will eventually end up in bank accounts of US military industrial complex and corrupt officials. Some 14 or 17 million is for Israel in that very same bill, and some 5 billion for Taiwan. But what is interesting, this is not the news, by the way. We all already know about it for at least several days, for a while. The Senate voted on this bill like 3-4 days ago. But what is interesting, that Congress is on holiday. And okay, Biden is out of this world. We all can see it, understand this, and he have no idea that Congress is on holiday. And okay, he may call them and demand some urgent voting and so on. But it's strange that nobody in Biden's administration seems like to be aware that there is no point to make any calls for Congress right now, because until 28th of February, Congress will be on holiday. They're not going to vote for nothing these days. And why no one stopped Biden to make this call, urgent call? I mean, I don't know, man. It seems like everyone lost mind in Biden's administration, man. This is, I mean, very strange. And these people are in charge of nuclear superpower. That's a scary stuff. That's really scary stuff, that these people are in charge of a nuclear superpower. But anyway, let's continue. Eventually, you know my take, eventually I believe military-industrial complex and corrupt officials will achieve their goal, and they will force House Republicans to vote for this bill, and some few dozens of billions of dollars will eventually end up on bank accounts of US military-industrial complex. But at least for now, House Republicans did put up some fight, at least. You know, they try. I think they will eventually fail and they will be forced to vote for this bill, but at least they try, you know. TASS news agencies report that, well, according to Bloomberg media outlet, or propaganda outlet, let's say, summit on Ukraine that was planned for March, summit in which some heads of states are supposed to participate, and during that summit, Zelensky's this peace formula should be discussed. This summit will be postponed because heads of states are not really keen to attempt on this summit and discuss this nonsense in the name of Zelensky's peace formula, which is quite understandable. Everybody is, I mean, kind of laughing when these summits are taking place or conferences, and Zelensky is arriving there and then giving some speeches and presents his peace formula, which is a total nonsense, by the way. In that peace formula, Zelensky is arguing that Russian forces should withdraw from all the territories that Zelensky calls Ukraine, and Russia should apologize, pay compensation, and this and that. I mean, it's total nonsense. Moscow already made it clear that Russian side not sees this Zelensky's peace formula as something that can be seriously discussed, and Russian side don't see these summits on Ukraine some serious gathering, because Russia, after all, Russia is not invited. And what is the point to talk about Ukraine if Russia is not there? I mean, really, what is the point? They can call each other and just talk over the phone then about anything they want. I mean, they can talk about Star Wars if they want to, you know. It does not make any sense. And I guess that's why this is one of the reasons why leaders of some countries that supposed to participate in this summit or were invited, they are not really keen to go there and make fool of themselves and pretend that they are doing something serious when they are not. So quite understandable. Everybody is little by little, but getting sick and tired of this Ukrainian story, really. And it's, I mean, it's becoming more and more obvious. No matter how hard this Western so-called elites gonna try to or pretend that Ukraine is still top topic on their mind, it's not. Anyway, let's continue. RT is reporting that, well, according to Russian ambassador in US, Anatoly Antonov, US reaction to the death in prison of Russian opposition figure Alexei Navalny is an attempt to meddle in the country's internal affairs, which is true, of course. The Western ruling elites, including Washington, by the way, they were trying to use Navalny and his associates as a weapon against Russia. They were weaponized, basically. And they didn't achieve much, really. And now they're trying to use this death of Navalny as additional reason to not just demonize Russia, Russian government, but to somehow boost this so-called opposition figures, out of system opposition figures or associates of Navalny, and their profile, and presented them as some kind of alternative for Russian government, which is, I mean, total nonsense. I mean, it's laughable to even discuss this topic seriously, because they're gonna fail. Nobody in Russia, very few, let's say this way, in Russia was seeing Navalny as a serious politician. He had some support, like several dozen of thousand people. I don't know, 50, 100,000 people probably will support him. Twice more, 3 times more, okay, 5 times more. In country with 150 million, it's nothing, isn't it? If you are pretend to be or have ambitions to be major politician, it's nothing. And Navalny failed. All this operation with Navalny, operation of Western secret services, failed. And well, let's wait for investigation, by the way. Let's wait for investigation. But if investigation will conclude that there was some external influence in causes of death of Navalny, then I will say it was Western secret services who take a hit on Navalny. They could do it in a number of ways. And if that's the case, then it does make for Western ruling elites and Western secret services, it does make some sense, because they could not use Navalny no more, especially in the prison. But by taking him out, they can create from him some kind of legend, and try to boost this movement that was around Navalny. And by the way, on Friday, on my second news update, I did say that most likely Western ruling elites will try to promote now wife of Navalny as some kind of politician, and I was not wrong. Later on Friday and yesterday, I learned that wife of Navalny was in Munich conference, and she did made speech several hours after information broke up about Navalny's death. So I was absolutely correct in my second update on Friday, when I said that most likely Navalny's wife will make speeches in Munich Security Conference, and she will be presented as some kind of new leader of this so-called opposition, the US-controlled or Western-controlled groups that are pretending to be political opposition here in Russia. And it is the case. It is the case. I don't know what is the name of wife of Navalny, but she will definitely be used against Russia. And well, Western ruling elites will have same result with her that they had with this another female from Belarus, who was treated as some kind of leader of Belarus, and she's what is her name, man? Whatever. She is now somewhere in Baltic states, continuing to acting, although everyone forgot about her. Same will happen with this new project, with the wife of Navalny being presented as some kind of, I don't know, political figure. What she was doing in Munich conference, by the way, Munich Security Conference. Is she expert in fields of geopolitics, in field of war crisis management? What competency she has that she was invited in Munich Security Conference? I was thinking this is a gathering of some serious people with expertise in different fields when it comes to world security. Why Navalny's wife was there? Question. And by the way, also question, how come that once this information broke up about death of Navalny, dozens of high-ranking officials in the collective West states start making similar statements and blaming Kremlin and Putin in death of Navalny? Is it coincidence, or these people were given direct orders how to act? Yet again, by the way, let's wait for investigation, but I would not be surprised at all if investigation will conclude that Navalny was targeted and targeted by Western secret services. I would not be surprised at all. And yes, I mean, ambassador of Russian Federation in US, correct. US will use any excuse to somehow intervene in Russia's internal affairs, but they will fail. They will fail because it seems like Western ruling class never understood mentality of Russian society, never understood Russian people. Otherwise, they will don't make these stupid mistakes time after time that they are making. And first of all, by the way, when it comes to Russian society, key point is that Russia is a self-sufficient civilization on its own. And this understanding is very deeply seated in Russian society. That Russia is self-sufficient civilization on its own. And any pro-movement, pro-anything movement, pro-Western movement, for example, is doomed to fail because Russia don't need to be pro-Western or part of Western world, because it don't. Russia is already sufficient enough. It's a civilization on its own. And that's why, by the way, any groups that are affiliated with the West, with the Western ruling class, with the Western ruling elites, Western secret services, they are doomed to fail. And that's why Navalny's project didn't succeed, despite so much effort that was put in this project by Western secret services and Western governments. And they never had a chance, really. And for very same reason, I'm saying that whatever new project they're gonna create around the wife of Navalny, they will still fail. They will still fail then. Because no politician, no public figure in Russia will gain support and respect of society if that politician or public figure has any affiliations with the West. It's just impossible, by the way. And this is it when it comes to this topic. Let's continue with some other news. And RT is reporting that Ecuador reverses plans to sell Russian weapons to US. This is reported by RIA Novosti, by the way. So Ecuador has scrapped the planned sale of outdated Russian and Ukrainian military equipment to Washington in exchange for 200 million in new gear, according to Moscow's envoy to the South American state. US officials had earlier suggested that these arms from Ecuador will be transferred to Kiev regime, will be donated to Kiev regime. As you know, after Ecuadorian government make announcement about this decision to transfer weapons, Russian and Soviet-era weapons, Russian-made and Soviet-era weapons to US, Moscow was very not happy about it, and some steps were made to send clear signal, clear message to government of Ecuador. Russian side ban imports of banana from Ecuador, and it's a huge business, by the way, for Ecuador. It's one of the major exporters of banana, and Russia was one of the major buyers of those bananas for $700 million a year. So it's a big money, though. And Russia also banned the export of flowers. There were talks that Russia will ban import from Russia banned import of flowers, not export, for God's sake, import from Ecuador. Import of flowers, bananas, there was talks about banning import of pineapple and some other stuff. And combined, this is a quite significant hit on Ecuador's businesses that are involved in these operations and Ecuador's overall economical situation and budget. And well, as you can see, they have rethink their decision, and they are no longer planning to transfer weapons to US. Moscow lifted ban on imports of goods from Ecuador, and well, I'm not quite sure that that decision is correct, because if tomorrow Washington promises Ecuadorian government to compensate for losses if Russia will again implement some sanctions, I guess government of Ecuador will yet again change its mind and will send weapons to Kiev regime indirectly through third parties. And well, whatever the case, decisions have been made, and Russia lifted all the bans on imports of goods from Ecuador, and Ecuador, at least for now, formally, no longer plans to transfer weapons. This is the situation with that story. Well, in my opinion, Moscow was too soft on Ecuador's government, really, but maybe that's for good, I don't know. Anyway, RT's report that US planning to send more bombs to Israel, according to Wall Street Journal. Administration of US President Joe Biden is preparing to transfer a bunch of bombs and other military equipment with tens of millions of dollars worth to Israel aimed its conflict with the Hamas. The Wall Street Journal reported on Friday, citing sources according to current and former US officials interviewed by their paper. The potential delivery could include around 1,500-pound Mk-82 bombs, precision-guided kits for the bombs, as well as fuses. The shipment is reportedly still under review by officials, and the terms could change. The transfer would also have to be approved by Congress. So, does anybody has any doubts that Israel will receive all the weapons it needs from US? I have no doubt about it. They can ask just about any weapons, and they will receive it, maybe with the exception of nukes. Although Israel has nukes on its own, so it don't really need nukes from US. But it is what it is, man. Formally, high-ranking officials of US are making statements that they are calling Israeli government to act differently and to minimize casualties among civilians and so on. But in reality, they are sending to Israel exactly the weapons that Israel uses to decimate entire districts in the Gaza Strip. It is what it is. RIA Novosti's report that Houthi rebels once again conducted strike on a civilian or commercial vessel in the Red Sea. This time it was British tanker. This was reported by Reuters. I did not see any confirmation from US or UK militaries about this hit. But yet again, despite the strikes against Houthi rebels or Ansar Allah movement in Yemen, despite the strikes from US and the UK, as many was predicting, things don't really change towards the escalation. It's exactly the opposite. Situation is only getting worse and worse as time goes by. RT's report that China demands US to lift illegal unilateral sanctions on Chinese businesses. Chinese Foreign Minister Yang Yi urges US Secretary of State Antony Blinken to remove sanctions on the country's businesses when the two met on the sidelines of the 60th Munich Security Conference on Friday. Understandable call from China, but of course, US not gonna lift no sanctions on Chinese businesses. Exactly opposite will most likely happen, and it's obvious that relationships between US and China will only deteriorate. There is no reason to believe, no objective reasons to believe that relationships between these two giants will ever get improved. It's just not happening because US ruling class will never, or Western ruling class will never agree or never acknowledge that they are no longer dominant force in this world, and there are some other parties that has to be taken seriously, and interests of whom has to be acknowledged. Western ruling class is unable to do so, unable to acknowledge this, and therefore they will try to destroy everybody who will they see as a potential opponent on the world stage. They're trying to destroy Russia. They are already trying to destroy China also, by the way, and they're quite actively working on this direction. They did not yet provoke proxy war against China, but most likely they will, or at least try, with Taiwan. So yes, one can understand that diplomats are trying to be diplomats and conducting some negotiations and highlighting some issues between the sides, but I don't see any even slight chance that relationships between China and US will improve anytime soon, if ever. If Trump will become president of US, I guess relationships will deteriorate even faster, because Trump is definitely anti-Chinese, man. He was very clear about it for decades. Not anti-Chinese, but Trump is how should I say, man? Trump is not in favor of U.S. dependence, let's say this way, diplomatically. Trump is not in favor that the U.S. economy is extremely dependent on China, let's say this way. Anyway, let's continue. TASS news agencies. By the way, when it comes to Trump, of course, you hear this information that he was fined for 375 or something million US dollars. Previously, he was fined for another $80 million. So I guess this is new approach of Western or deep state or neolibs in the US, and to bankrupt him, basically. Because, I mean, he has to pay now over $400 million. He has assets, of course, much more than 400 million, but does he has this cash in hands, this level of cash? I don't think so. I mean, it's a huge amount of money. And today, I don't know if it's correct or not, but on one of the channels, I did saw information that supporters of Trump are beginning to raise money to support him, to pay this extreme level of fine, 375 million. It's wow, huge, for some kind of fraud, by the way. It was a not criminal case, it was civilian case, and he was charged for this fine for some kind of fraud. I don't know, man. Right now, anything goes around Trump, I see as a political prosecution, anything negative, because I don't think Trump was acting any differently than any other billionaire in US. They have corrupt fraud system in US. US economy is based on corrupt and fraud system. And if they want to, they can basically prosecute just about any billionaire in US. Because they're using this system. Of course they're using it. But when it comes to Trump, I mean, it definitely seems like, I don't know, political prosecution, by the way. If Trump was never entered this political field, I guess he will live quietly without any investigations and so on. Probably majority of you will agree with. If he stayed out of politics, he would not experience all that troubles that he is going through as a politician. Anyway, let's continue. TASS news agencies report that, well, by the way, it's official now that US Western ruling class officially starts stealing frozen Russian assets. We have TASS news agencies report here, according to which US transferred to Estonia $500,000 from frozen confiscated Russian funds. From confiscated Russian funds, this is just the beginning. Of course, 500,000, it's peanuts compared to 300 billion of Russian assets that is frozen in the West. But it's a beginning. It's a beginning. I was saying, by the way, that I don't think Moscow really expects that this 300 billion will ever return to Russia. It's not happening. I think it was only a matter of time when Western ruling class and their puppets in governments of this collective West states will start stealing Russian assets, and well, they start doing it. They start stealing Russian assets. First, 500,000 was sent to Estonia to then provide some support to Ukraine. And next will be 500 million, maybe, next 50 billion, and eventually they will steal all 300 billion. it is what it is. Reputation of collective West already is already destroyed, and well, at this point I don't think it's even possible to restore reputation and to regain trust of the world community towards collective West, in political terms, in economical terms, in any terms whatsoever. Anyway, let's continue. RT is reporting that well, head of Russian Central Bank responded on this process of stealing of Russian assets in the West, and she said that global financial system would be disrupted if Brussels and Washington go through with the threats to use Russian sovereign assets to help Ukraine. The head of the Bank of Russia, Elvira Nabiullina, warned on Friday. Understandable statement. Of course, this will disrupt world financial system, but it's inevitable. It's inevitable. It's too late for calls now and warnings. Better if Russia, China, India, South Africa, Brazil, other BRICS member states and major countries outside of Western world will start operating on creation of new financial system, alternative financial system, banking system, because it's necessary. World currently known as a world financial system is failing. It's already failed, and definitely alternatives are needed, and hopefully will be created in 3 to 5 years time. We will have an alternative financial system in this world, so that the rest of the world would not be dependent on Western financial or banking system. It's necessary. Let's continue. RIA Novosti's report that, well, this is quite interesting, by the way. This is quite interesting. According to this news, people worldwide who had any connection with Russian Empire, who had any connection with the Soviet Union or modern Russia, will become much easier for them to emigrate to Russia. Repatriation would not be as difficult as it was. Russian side is trying, government is trying for quite a while now to make it less and less bureaucracy in this field, so that more people who wants to emigrate to Russia will emigrate in Russia. And now it's well, official that another additional steps have been made in this direction, and some barriers have been removed. And hopefully this new development will be in this information. There is no exact information what barriers will be removed, but well, repatriants will find it much more easy to emigrate in Russia. And by the way, not just people who had any connection with Russian Empire, Soviet Union, and modern Russia, but basically anybody can emigrate in Russia. All it takes is to have some positive attitude and want to live in this free country. And by the way, I'm not joking though. Western propaganda may portray Russia as some kind of, I don't know, dictatorship or whatever they are trying to create image of Russia, but in reality, by the way, citizens of Western states, by the way, Australia, Canada, European states, by the way, Germany, for example, US, more and more citizens from collective West countries are moving to Russia. Despite some difficulties, because they have to learn language, which is not easy language to learn, by the way. They have to get used to this somewhat similar but same time different environment, but they are moving to Russia because they feel that for their families it's a better place, for their kids it's a better place. And it's true, by the way, it's true. So yes, welcome to Russia, by the way. Not just repatriates, not just people who had any connections and have any connections with Russia, but everybody, man. Russia definitely needs more and more people. It's too obvious. Russian economy needs more people, and it will be better for society. It will be better for countries. So yes, you're welcome. This is it for now. And how long is this video? 45 minutes. Okay, a little longer than I was anticipating, but still at least not 1.5 hours, isn't it? So I will end this video now, if I may. Hopefully you will find this news interesting, informative, and if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything, any topic. More likes and comments should help to promote channel little better on both platforms, by the way, on Rumble and YouTube. And for very same reason, to reach a wider audience, if you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends on any of the platforms that you are active on. And if you think this project with several channels on YouTube, Rumble, Telegram are interesting, useful, has some potential and deserves to exist in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support my work with small donations through PayPal, buy me a coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. You can see links on this video in the description box or in the pinned comment. This is it for now, and well, before I go, let me just remind you that today, 9 o'clock, approximately 9 o'clock, evening Moscow time, I will have a traditional Sunday live stream on main YouTube channel. And well, I hope you will find time to join the conversation. Have a great day and take care.